The door of the beauty salon opened, and a modestly dressed young woman walked in. The administrator frowned and showed that she did not like the woman who entered. Knowing that there were enough free places for a hairdresser, the administrator, in a very rude manner, said that all the hairdressers were busy for now. Megan was in no hurry to leave, saying she would wait. She confidently moved to the sofa to sit down, showing the administrator that she would have to be served. At this time, the two masters had finished cutting their clients' hair and was cleaning their workplaces for the next clients. The administrator could have suggested to the waiting woman to take off her coat and sit down on a vacant seat, but she was silent. The hairdressers finished cleaning, left the hall, and Megan was still sitting at a loss, looking at the administrator. After about 15 minutes, she reminded her of herself, but the administrator irritably said in response, "Wait. They need a break. The hairdressers are on their feet all day and they need to rest, and you can wait." Megan understood perfectly well that she had to wait until the two salon employees had a coffee and a break from their hard work. Meanwhile, the administrator attentively considered Megan. Mass market clothing, cheap manicure, almost no makeup. Yes, she was a client with whom there was no money to be made, and why did she come to this expensive salon? Megan, meanwhile, noticed a coffee machine and decided to brighten up her wait with an aromatic drink. Of course, usually salons offer coffee themselves, but here it was obvious that the employees have no time to take care of customers. Megan confidently went to the machine and made herself a coffee. The administrator looked at her and started to reprimand, saying she had no right to walk around the salon and do what she wanted, and coffee was intended only for regular customers. Megan apologized and calmly replied, "Well, but in all the decent salons I have been before, customers were offered coffee. But here, you probably do not care about customers. In addition, you allow yourself to yell at them and treat them rudely." These unpleasant words evidently influenced the receptionist a little, and she finally called one of the hairdressers, and Megan finally began to cut hair. 10 minutes later, a lady in an expensive fur coat came into the salon. The administrator smiled warmly at her and started showering her with compliments. A new customer was offered the best master, who happened to be unexpectedly free. They served the woman in the highest class. Megan understood that attentive treatment in this salon was reserved only for rich clients. After she came to her senses of amazement, Megan decided to have a little chat with her hairdresser about her work. What customers are coming, how often they come, what services they use most often. The master did not hesitate to tell the truth about what was happening in the salon and how the employees treated the customers. If a decent customer came, such as a woman in a fur coat that everyone was smiling to, then she was assigned plenty of additional procedures for both hair and face at the beautician to make more money. If they saw that the client was just a simple customer like Megan, who could not afford a long list of procedures, they did not bother. Megan was furious, especially because the master talked so simply about everything that was going on in the salon, without remorse, while constantly pulling Megan's hair that the woman even yelled out in pain. Continuing to wait patiently for her haircut to be finished, Megan thought that she would never come to a salon like that again and would never recommend it to anyone. At that time, a man came through the salon door. All the employees pretended to work diligently. Megan saw in the mirror how the administrator quickly put the phone away and jumped up to him and greeted him with a big smile. The hairdresser next to the rich client fussed even more, and Megan's master stopped talking and gently began brushing her hair. The man was talking to the administrator about something, and the hairdresser whispered quietly to Megan that it was the owner who had come, and he had 5 salons around the city. The man looked around confused and seeing Megan, smiled, walked over and hugged her and kissed her on the cheek. As it turned out, Megan was the owner's daughter. All the employees froze in shock. They hustled, but it was too late. All that was necessary, Megan heard and saw, and even felt. The administrator flew up to Megan with an apology, and the hairdresser quietly retired to the staff room with his head down in shame. Meanwhile, the owner announced that from now on, Megan would be the owner of this salon, and she would take over all the management. No one had ever seen Megan before. She lived in another country and was in an entirely different line of business. But now she has moved closer to her father with her family to help run the business. However, before taking on such responsibility, she wanted to see from the inside how everything was arranged here, and as it turned out, not in vain. The salon was not cheap. The wages were very decent, and such a horrible attitude to visitors was completely unacceptable. Finally, Megan took over this beauty salon and made some changes in the delivery of services. The administrator left on her own. She disliked the new conditions. She considered herself superior to others, and it was unpleasant for her to work with a poor, in her opinion, people. After such a checkup, the employees started to treat the clients with respect. People in any clothes, not just expensive fur coats, were always welcome in the salon. With Megan's arrival, the salon was filled with warmth and coziness and became more in demand.